UIC. Hell yeah. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. That when you free up the people, levitate. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. Me give thanks in every way. God still a look down once see we safe. UIC run the road long time. GLP and PMPSL we out. Till I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no courage and me freedom in a step. No one fi rob we and kill we and feel them and go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Yeah, me drop the braffing now, and then I laughing now. What them talking about? Everything cement and we not talking growth. We make an intellectuals a marching now. Them couldn't get the last laugh, no them laughing loud. We don't need the small talk when we talking bro. We don't need them 5 grand, we need to part them now. Long time GLP and PMPSL we out. Till I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no courage and me freedom in a step. No one fi rob we and kill we and feel them and go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Hell yeah.
Man, whoa, that song, every time I play that song, I get a vibe, I get a hype. I just want to take out my mixer, put it on my table, drop in the song, and just spin some tune. Right now, I want some more Jamaican artists to make some tune for the UIC. Make some more tune. You know, it would be good if I have at least 30 songs, 30 tracks. So I'm making a call right now to Jamaica, to the Jamaican artists. It doesn't matter if you're a big artist up in Buju or Cartel level, or if you're a small artist. Come record a song, send it to it. If we like it, we'll put it together into a nice UIC mix and we'll push it out there. This is the United Independence Congress mix CD, original song, no dub plate, original, right? And if you know any dancers anywhere, link them up, you know, tell them to do a dance video for this track. We're gonna release the track soon, so everybody can have the MP3 format, right? So now I am going to introduce you to somebody who needs no introduction. Welcome the president of the United Independence Congress, Mr. Joseph L. Patterson.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for a wonderful Heroes Day program from 11 a.m. Devon, Thompson, Kevon Harris, and all the other speakers that went before and the presentation. I'm still rocking from the song, Sir Thompson. Still rocking from the song.
Yes,
Still
man.
rocking. It is a killer. Or I shouldn't say killer. I mean the song Wicked.
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough.
The song
Even,
Wicked. I
even
really
when I,
like it.
even when I was going to bed last night, my eyes are closed.
Real no, it's wicked. It's wicked.
It's stuck in there, man.
And I like the energy of the writer and the singer. I just have the right energy, the right spirit, and you
Mhm.
can see that the man really understand. Like he's not
Yes.
just cutting a tune, him understand what the UIC stand for, and that's what makes the song so powerful. Very impressive. I'm looking forward to hearing more from other artists as well to come
Mhm.
forward. A good evening to all of you who are out there. Welcome, JMH, Steve Lynn, Dawn Thomas, Latoya Smile, Conscious and Nurturing. Thank you very much. Daniel Taylor, good to see you all. And Charlotte, I can't say the last name after Charlotte, but
Echo.
welcome.
Yeah.
And thank you all for being on.
So,
Um,
so Mr. P, sorry,
yeah,
before you continue, I want to make a call to our Instagram folks here.
sure,
You
sure.
guys on Instagram have been enjoying the little mini stream that we have here, or the personal stream. I understand that you're enjoying it, and you want to stick around. But unfortunately, the best way for you to experience the whole thing is to go on our Facebook, go on our Twitter, and go on our YouTube page. The Instagram stream timed out because Instagram doesn't allow you to stream for a very long time. As somebody said, we've been streaming for 6 hours straight. Who does that? Who does that? 6 hours straight.
UIC to the world. Yes.
So I am going to end the Instagram stream because Mr. Thompson here would like to go get a snack and get something to drink. Right?
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
so if you could head over to Twitter, please head over to Instagram, please head over to YouTube. You don't want to miss what the president of the UIC has to say. And thank you very much for joining me over here on Instagram.
All right. Well, Devon, I'm going to shock the crowd. I'm going to dance to Real Manor Road before I get into what I have to share. So I want on your exit for you to just play that song again so that I can enjoy the 3 minutes or so with the
Okay.
crowd and see if I can get some exercise before
Yeah.
I do this presentation.
So hold on there. I want to make sure the people are ready for this. The president of the UIC is about to dance.
All right, let's see. Oh,
Okay. All right. Ready?
Ready?
All right. DJ, hold on. You want an introduction?
Run the rhythm. Run the rhythm.
All right.
UIC. Hell yeah.
You can leave now, Devon. You can go on. Don't worry. You can go on. You get your snack. Run the rhythm for me. Well, I think I'm gone with the song too.
Real man
Oh,
Sir P, I thought you were gonna dance.
no, but I'm not hearing the song.
Oh, you're not hearing it?
No. When you're gone, it's the song gone with you.
Okay. Let's do this again. And this time we want to do it proper. I'm gonna give an introduction.
Go ahead.
I don't think you don't know I was a DJ back in the
All
day.
right.
So I'm gonna give you my DJ introduction. You ready for it? When I think you're ready. Hold on, my microphone. My microphone now. So microphone now. Ready? Off a microphone. Ready?
UIC.
All right, so I want your name now.
Hell yeah.
We have Sir P here, Joseph L. Patterson, United Independence Congress, the next political party in Jamaica that's going to become government. And right now we have a It's going to push us over the end. The what your name now?
Yeah. Real man a road. Now go walk in a tree when a road. Now go
Join in with me, guys.
on a road. UIC when you see man a road, we say yeah. Real man a road. Now go walk in a tree when a road. Now go down to no deep man a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for block every chain. The one that free up the people every day. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. They give thanks in every way. God still a look down once we say. UIC around the road, long time GLP and PMPSL. We out killer do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we hang we know. The force not gonna hurt and me freedom in a step. We and kill, we and kill them, I go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the ants of the devil when sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the ants of the devil when sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now go walk in a tree when a road.
Hold on, pull up. Hold on, pull up.
All right.
No.
All right.
Wonderful. All right. I'm out now, all right?
All right, take it easy.
Yes,
Enjoy
man.
yourself. Get some refreshment. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to Devon, Thompson. Thanks to Kevon. Thanks to all the big up to the Portmore people, them. All you that were out, all of us in Catherine on Saturday, carrying out the All Our Welcome campaign. So big up to everybody. Yeah, so this is Heroes Day, and our ears are very important to us, and we're here today to celebrate our heroes, especially those not just of the past, but our heroes of the present, those who are standing up against tyranny. So big up to all of you who are standing your grounds, who are saying no to medical tyranny, who are saying no to medical apartheid. Big respect to everybody in that regards. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, just give me a shout out. Let me know you can hear. I have a short little presentation, and then we're going to talk a little bit. I love taking questions. I prefer to answer questions than to give speeches because it gives people a chance, to hear everything. So yeah, man. So we're gonna have a little presentation first, pretty formal. Then we're gonna go into a discussion afterwards. All right. So glad I gave some of you a chance to laugh, and I hear that somebody's in tears with all the laughter. But we have to take a break sometime from all of the difficult things we have to face in life, and have a chance to just talk to each other, laugh with each other, dance with each other, and eat. So I hope you're having a good Heroes Day so far. I know there are many challenges. We all don't have all the things we'd like to have, but we have each other, and that's what is most important. If we have each other, we can overcome, anything. So this National Heroes Day message is something that I write with a heavy heart because we're in a very difficult moment in our history. And so when I wrote this, it's actually something that traveled with me throughout my journey, this journey at trying to transform Jamaica. So the words are something that I've thought about very carefully, and every single word is important. So I want you to listen carefully to every single word, every phrase, every paragraph, and I want you to think about all that I have to say and internalize it, and reflect deeply on what it means to be a Jamaican and what it means to have the history that we have and what we're going to have to do about it. So let's begin. I'll make it official. Good evening, my fellow Jamaicans. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening. I want to thank you for your support over the last several weeks, particularly when I was arrested and charged by the police for peacefully demonstrating for your rights and mine. There was an outpouring of support all across the country, and my wife and I, my entire family, is deeply appreciative of all the love and support that you have given us. It has been a very trying period, costly in many ways, financially. I even got hurt in the process, but we're healing quite well, and we're not backing down. We're not going to stop until we win this battle to secure true freedom for all Jamaicans. As you all know, on the third Monday of October every year, we celebrate National Heroes Day. It is a day for us to pause and reflect on the sacrifices and give thanks for the brave men and women who fought for our freedom. We must never forget their struggle against the tyranny of colonialism and slavery. Nor should we take lightly the right to self-determination that they tried to secure for all of us. They told us that 5 centuries and 29 years ago, Columbus came to these shores in search of fame and fortune. This encounter with the Europeans spawned almost 400 years of slavery, which only ended because our heroes fought against a system that was designed to rob them of their lives, their liberty, and their property rights. Exactly 100 years after the abolition of slavery, two returning residents of mostly white lineage, Norman Washington Manley and his cousin Alexander Bustamante, created the People's National Party. That was 83 years ago. These two men, who were later made national heroes, divided us into two tribes when Bustamante created the Jamaica Labour Party 78 years ago. Our nation today reflects the stewardship of those two colonial parties. The Jamaica you see today is the direct result of their stewardship and the colonial system of governance that they embraced and have enforced upon us for over 77 years today. When the right to vote was granted to all Jamaicans 77 years ago, on November 20th, 1944, our true heroes, Queen Nanny of the Maroons, Samuel Sharp, Paul Bogle, George William Gordon, and the Most Honorable Messiah Marcus Messiah Garvey were not alive to see or taste the small fruit of their labor, where they fought, bled, sweat, and died, seeking equal rights, equal opportunity, and equal justice. But their descendants were eager to chart a new course. Our foreparents, your grandmother or great-grandmother, they wanted to build a new identity and achieve their own dreams. Back then, voter turnout exceeded 80%. In fact, the first election was higher than 85%, as people sought to take advantage of what was called universal adult suffrage. Sadly, in the last election, the reverse was seen. 63% of us saw no real value in voting, and rightly so. It is only now that the UIC is more known to Jamaicans, home and abroad, that people have become interested again in voting. In fact, people are now eager to vote because they want change. But our Prime Minister has made it very clear in his dictatorial position that there will be no elections until he says so, and he sees no reason to call any elections right now or anytime soon because he sees no benefit to that. He has full control of the municipalities, that's the 228 councillors, and he has full control with a supermajority in the House of Representatives. So our Prime Minister has made it clear that he does not need to call an election and is not interested in calling an election, even though local government elections are way past due and should be called in 2022. You might recall that the Prime Minister had no problem calling an election in the middle of a pandemic in order to secure for himself 5 more years, salary security, and power to do what he thinks is best for the rest of us. Let us pause and step back in history for a little bit. Let's do a little flashback to 182 years ago on the night of July 31st, 1838. On that venerable night, Queen Victoria sent out a royal decree declaring that midnight August 2nd, rather August 1st, I was born August 2nd, but her decree said midnight August 1st, 1838, that would be the day when all slaves in her kingdom were to be set free. We celebrate that day as Emancipation Day every year in Jamaica. We were supposed to be a free people that day, but it took 106 years to pass before we were granted the right to vote in 1944. Note, we were supposed to have been freed in 1838, but it took another 106 years before we were granted the right to vote. In other words, Emancipation Day did not bring real freedom. It simply gave the slaves a choice of master, while freeing the master from the costly responsibility of feeding, clothing, or housing the slave laborers. The system was simply changed from chattel slavery to wage slavery. Universal adult suffrage, which is the right, one man, one vote, the right to vote, promised us again real freedom. We were led to believe that when we had the right to vote and could hold office, we would be truly free. That's what Norman Manley and Alexander Bustamante supposedly won for us in 1944. But that too was just another trick. The right to vote is no guarantee of real freedom. Emancipation in 1838 was not enough, and the right to vote 106 years later in 1944 was also not enough. They were merely pacifiers, tricks used to divide and distract the ignorant masses, while the masters behind the scenes continued to extract their wealth by stealth. So, we became agitated again. Nothing short of full independence from the colonial masters would satisfy us as a people, or so we thought. So 18 years after the 1944 right to vote, on August 6, 1962, we became a politically independent nation, or so we were led to believe. Are we really free? Would our true national heroes, Nani, Sam Sharp, Bogle, Gordon, Marcus Garvey, would these heroes be satisfied with where we are today? Would they consider that to be true freedom? I am sure that they would not be satisfied. No, we're not free when over 700,000 of us still live like slaves in abject poverty as squatters in our own country. Yes, 700,000 Jamaicans are today living as squatters in their own country. No, we're not free when nearly 3 million of us still live like slaves in fear of crime and violence. If you were a slave, every day you'd be living in fear, fearful that somebody was going to beat you to death, fear that somebody is going to rape you, fear that somebody is going to kill you, fear that somebody is going to sell you. How much of that has changed? It may look different, but it's pretty much the same. Who is selling us right now? Who is raping us right now? Who is threatening to kill us right now? Think about that. No, we're not free. When, like slaves, we still live divided, depressed, and hopeless under a tyrannical master that now goes by the name government instead of massa. Yes, my friends, we are not free. So as we pause on this National Heroes Day for somber reflection on the sacrifices of our heroes, let us not settle for the dwindling freedoms we have today, but rather purpose in our hearts to redouble our efforts and not rest until we have ended the colonial partisan politics that divides us, distracts us, and brings out the worst in us, while our politicians and their foreign masters are secretly extracting our wealth by stealth. Every day that we're distracted by them, they're stealing our hard-earned money. Whether it's in the education ministry, or it's in the petroleum industry, or it's in the bauxite industry, wherever it is, whether it's the many boards, whether it's at the municipal level or at the national level, every day millions and millions of dollars are being stolen from us by men and women who look like us. My friends, let us rise up. Let us rise up and implement a new system of governance, one that will unite us instead of what now divides us, one that will respect us as sovereign individuals, one that will bring out the best in all of us. Let us not rest until we abolish the fraudulent master-slave economic system that now enriches a few at the expense of the many. Let us make September 22nd our real Independence Day by not bowing to the dictates of a prime minister that is nothing but a puppet and a parrot for his foreign masters, who are now simply trying to take away our bodily autonomy using medical apartheid. They have taken so many things away from us already. They have taken away our prosperity. They have taken away our dignity. They have destroyed our minds with fake education. They have stolen our wealth with a fake monetary system and a fake banking system. And by God, they now want to take away our bodies as well. My people, let us create and fund and vote for our own political movement to create the world's first truly free nation on the planet. Let us create the non-partisan constitutional republic of Jamaica. The United Independence Congress of Jamaica is your vehicle to unite and liberate our people. It is the vehicle by which we may grant ourselves the right to life, liberty, and property. Nobody will ever grant us independence. Nobody will ever grant us freedom. We have to take it for ourselves. We have to make it for ourselves. Everything they have granted to us is a trick. Whether it's emancipation, whether it's universal adult suffrage, whether it's so-called independence, everything that they grant to us is another method of extracting our wealth from us and finding ways to destroy us. And people who look like us are their proxies. People who look like us are their representatives. People who look like us are their agents. People who look like us are simply their puppets and their parrots. People who look like us are hell-bent on gaining any and everything at any cost to us. The UIC, my friends, is our only hope against the two colonial parties and their foreign masters. And we must do everything in our power to defend and protect and elect the UIC, to remove the Queen of England, to remove her Governor General, and to remove her divisive colonial system from us. The UIC is the only hope for Rasta. It's the only hope for the Maroons. It's the only hope for Christians. It's the only hope for Muslims. It's the only hope for the religious. It's the only hope for the non-religious. It is the only hope for the vaccinated. It is the only hope for the unvaccinated. It is all our only hope to live in peace and harmony in a nation where your individual sovereignty and your property rights are fully respected and fully protected. The UIC, my friend, is the only hope for those who are living in the ghettos, in the garrisons, and in the squatter communities. It is the only hope for them and for us to get a fresh start so that they and all of us may reside in a real new Jamaica where all can live, earn, and retire with dignity in a safe, clean, and orderly country. My fellow Jamaicans, it is time for us to be free. It is time for us to turn over a new leaf. It is time for us to respect ourselves, respect each other, and live a respectable life. And so, my friends, I invite you, all of you, to join me, to join hands with me in the UIC to create a new and better Jamaica. We can do it. You can do it. Together we can do it. And always remember that we are greater than me. We are stronger together. We are a people that have survived many trials. This one is our biggest trial yet since so-called independence, but we shall overcome. Don't give in to the dictates of those who think that they know what's best for you. Stand up, Jamaica. Stand up for your rights and join me and fight to the bitter end until all of our freedoms are fully restored, and once again we'll be the people that we were meant to be. The people that was taken from their homes in Africa, that were destroyed by those who hated us, and by who were brainwashed by those who co-opted our education, our healthcare, our economy. Let us take back what is rightfully ours, and it begins by taking back our freedom. I thank you very much, and I wish you a very, very happy Heroes Day. Now let's take some questions. If you have any questions at all, feel free to throw them out here, and I'll be happy to answer them for the next, let's say, 30 minutes. Yeah, if that's okay with you. I can also read your comments. Yes, we shall fight for our right to the bitter end, and we're going to take back our real freedom. Because, the truth is, nobody's going to give us anything. We are going to have to do it ourselves. And the UIC is here for you to do that. The UIC was designed to be the Jamaican People Party. And by that I mean, we're not taking money from big business. Any big company that wants to give us a dime and control and change what we're about to do, the answer is a big fat no. The question is asked, what is the UIC's position on religious cult? We have a very simple position. We don't specify any types of groups or organization. We believe strongly that people must be free to live the life that they want to live, provided they don't use force or fraud to infringe on the life, the liberty, or the property rights of others. And what we mean by that is, you must be free to self-actualize. So, for example, let's say the Maroons want to live their cultural practices in the territory which is theirs, then they must be allowed to do that, provided they do not use force or fraud to keep anybody into their groups or to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of anyone else. We strongly believe in those three things: protecting people's right to their life, protecting the right to your freedom, which is called liberty, and protecting the right to your property. Yeah. Thank you, Brackett, for that. God bless you as well. Daniel Taylor says somebody's a house slave. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Or Steve Lynn is asking, are we planning another march or walk? Right now, Steve, our focus is on having the All Are Welcome campaign. Now, that's a very important campaign, because I needed to understand this, right? We can't just simply march or walk alone. We have to take, action as well, other actions. And the All Are Welcome campaign is a key action, because what we're doing with that campaign is we are saying to ourselves, first of all, do we want to spend our money with people who are fighting against us? So we want to understand our economic power, right? Do we want to spend our money with people who are fighting against us? I say no. You don't want to spend your money with people who are fighting against your freedom. So the first thing we can do, and this is really very powerful, if we simply stop spending our money with those who want to take away our freedom of choice, that's going to be powerful. So let's do that. So we're going to ask, and we have asked, all companies in Jamaica, whether it's a store, a grocery store, a hardware store, a bank, an investment firm, we have asked all companies in Jamaica to put a sign in their store that says all are welcome, or to put the sign also on their social media pages to say all are welcome. And if we see that sign, we know that we can spend our money with this company, because this company is not practicing apartheid. They're not treating the juked different from the unjuked, right? So they're not pressuring their employees to take a substance into their bodies that they may not want to take. They're not firing anybody because they don't take the substance into their body, and they're not telling people that they can't come into their store or they can't shop with them unless they take the substance. So it's very simple. those who want to be a part of the apartheid mechanism, which the government is rolling out, they can stay, but we're not going to support them financially. We're going to look for those stores, those businesses that believe in your right to choose, and we're going to support those stores. So right now, that's our major agenda. So we're not engaged right now in any walks or marches or gatherings. We're very focused on the financial implications, using our economic power to send a clear message that we're not going to support those who support medical apartheid. So that's the key thing. So let's make sure you're a part of that campaign. We have some flyers out. I'm sure you'd have seen them. If not, just write into our number 876-293-0812 and request flyers so we can send it to you. Our posters, we'll send it. You can print it and you can put them up in your store. If you have any kind of small business, make sure you have that up to say all are welcome. You're not discriminating against those who are juked and those who are unjuked. You are in favor of freedom of choice. And you'll only shop, you'll only spend your money with organizations that are also in favor of freedom of choice. And so we'll pull our money out of the banks. Any bank that doesn't want to do the right thing, we'll pull our money out. So that's what we are doing right now. Okay. Let's see. We are so far removed from our culture. Will the UIC be able to bring back our culture in all its form, like John Kuno, etc.? Very good question, Annalisa. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring back all of those things, but what we're going to do is liberate the Jamaican people and give us a chance to rediscover who we were, who we are, who we want to be, and that begins first and foremost with a new system of governance that unites us, that helps us to focus on good governance, and that ensures that every Jamaican is given an equal opportunity to succeed, and particularly focused on our children, getting them the kind of education, healthcare, and nutrition that they need to learn properly, and a curriculum that allows them to learn about themselves and their history, and also makes them innovative and creative and technologically savvy, so that we can create and invent our way out of the mess that we find ourselves in because of poor leadership over the years. I see. How will you help those who may feel overwhelmed by or intimidated by the electoral system? Meaning, how will you make it easier to mobilize these people to go out and register? Thank you for that, Latoya. We have a network that we're creating. So it begins with 3 vice presidents that we have for each of the counties, Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. They are working with 14 parish managers, and each of these parish managers are working with their 4 or 5 constituency managers, who are also working with the division managers, who then help the PD supervisors to create what we call the community capital clubs, where we teach people how to become economically independent, how to develop good skills, personal development skills, and how the political system works and why we have to change it to a non-partisan constitutional republic. So we're working at that level through this network that allows us to effectively connect on the ground with people. It's not an easy process, but we're pursuing it with all the vigor in the world. We don't see any all are welcome sign in Port Henderson. So Mafe, help us to get some there now. So let's reach out to 293-0812, and if you don't have it already, and request the poster and print some for your area. Go around. We'll link you with people in the area that's already working on it as well, so you can work with them to get it through. Yeah. Question. You said freedom of choice, so I'm just assuming that's going to be the freedom to choose to wear a mask and to not wear a mask, so that the answer my question. Cool. Okay. So when it comes on to things like mask mandates and social distancing and all of these things, right? The UIC approach is really far more effective than the one we have now. We believe in public education. Now, that begins with having an objective system, right? An objective engagement, an objective process. We didn't have that. The government did not create that. An objective process would make sure that we have all the information is objectively looked at, and then policies are made based on these objective information at all times, respecting the sovereignty of the individual to choose what they will do, as long as they're not using force or fraud to infringe on the life, the liberty, or property rights of others. Then it's going to be their choice, but an informed choice. So the government should help you to learn, to know what is going on, but not force it on you. And that creates a level of trust as well, because the government isn't forcing you, it's educating you and it's empowering you. So, for example, in communities where there are challenges, the government would provide support to help you with those challenges, as opposed to simply just calling you a bad person and saying that those people who buy the half of bread and the digital oil, we need to stop this. Stop denigrating our people and start working with our people to make good decisions. So Andrew is asking, how will the UIC clean up the prison system? Well, that's a long discussion we could have, Andrew. But it begins, first of all, with the justice system and the police system. Looking at that in a holistic way, and making sure that we move away from the kind of disrespectful system where we disrespect our citizens and treat them like criminals, um, you know, and start treating them like citizens and serve them with respect. So that would mean, making sure that we have decent housing for those that are charged with anything. And then we make sure that you're treated as innocent until proven guilty. And if you're proven guilty, it doesn't mean that you are now treated in an inhumane way, but rather that you pay your time, you pay your dues. We want to put all of our inmates to work and in a reform program that includes education, and that will allow them to actually come out, better citizens than they went in, as opposed to coming out more criminal than they went in. Yeah. Uh, PM equate being a hero today to taking the job or the job. Yeah, we have a prime minister who has a problem. Clearly, his goal is to continue to divide Jamaicans into those who uh, take the joke and those who don't. We're not for that. The UIC is about uniting Jamaicans. We don't want to divide the Jamaican people at all. And you're not a hero if you choose to take a medication. And you're not a hero if you choose not to take a medication. You're a hero if you stand up for the rights of all Jamaicans. You're a hero if you stand up for the right to choose. You're a hero if you stand up for free speech. You're a hero if you stand up for freedom of assembly and freedom of movement. Because you're only going to be a hero when you stand up against tyranny, when you stand up against those who want to take away the rights of others, and you put yourself forward and say, no, I'm going to stand up against evil. So the Prime Minister clearly has a problem. 700,000 for not wearing a mask. Oh my God, that is past evil. It is. And obviously the Prime Minister doesn't care about the impact on poor people. He appears to have a disdain for poor people, actually. I don't know why he dislikes poor people so much. Why is it that he thinks that, he should punish the Jamaican people, especially the poor? Because if you notice, almost all of his policies are designed to punish the poor. Even when he was going after crime, and he says he's going to, use zones of special operations and states of emergencies, it's only the poor areas, the poor people. They just go and scrape up the young men. They lock down the communities. They destroy the small businesses. So he has a problem with small business, with the small man, with the micro entrepreneur. and he seems to be more in favor of big business, cruise ships coming in, big entertainment stagings, but the small man must be locked down, and that is just disastrous, and we have to change that. Question from Douglas Harper: what is the UIC's take on artificial intelligence replacing jobs? Good question, Douglas. You're going really far there. Now, we can't stop the progress of artificial intelligence. It's going to continue to advance. The question is, are we advancing with it? Do we have an educational system that allow us to become a part of the new emerging economy, or do we have one that leaves us behind? The answer is we're way behind. The Jamaican education system, the curriculum, the teachers, the teaching methodologies are all way behind. We should be teaching coding in school 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. And to this day, we're still behind on that. So I'm not worried about artificial intelligence taking away our jobs. I'm worried about us not doing a good job of educating ourselves so we can be a part of the new frontier, so that we can be a leading nation. It's like Singapore, right? They invested in their children to make sure that their children are very brilliant and highly productive. We in Jamaica continues to fail 70% of our children in a route learning system that doesn't make them solid engineers and solid designers and solid creators and solid innovators. They're all coming out of school looking for a kind of job that no longer exists and which is fast disappearing. So it's the approach, right? You need that. That's why freedom is so important. When you have freedom, you have the people being able to respond quickly to changes in the environment globally and locally. But when you have a top-down system where with centralized government that dictates everything and controls everybody, then they put us at a disadvantage. They destroy our agricultural sector by managing the sector to death. They destroy coffee, they destroy sugar, they destroy banana. Um, they sell us out on the mining arrangements. They destroy our education by a fake education system. They destroy our formation of capital with a fake banking system. They undermine our currency with devolution policies or dilution policies that destroy our purchasing power. They use high interest rate policies in the 1990s, late 1990s, to wipe out many small businesses by focusing more on government having capital over the people having capital. So there are so many things that they have done wrong and still are doing wrong. Fortunately, the UIC understand all of these issues. We understand economics. We understand human behavior. We understand how to create a nation of brilliant people that have the kind of education that will allow their brilliance to shine, right, in all of our sectors. I see a question here from Jamaica Live TV. I can tell you why he hates the poor. He is an Adventist. I was an Adventist growing up in Jamaica. They have a very no, I wouldn't think so. I don't think he hates the poor because he's an Adventist. And let's not do that. We have all kinds of different what do you call it now, denominations in Jamaica. I'm not prepared to call any of them any kind of names or to say that they're wicked or bad or whatever. Anybody who chooses to be evil, that's their choice. Yeah. So, you know, I'm not sure why the prime minister seemed to be so against the poor. I don't know why, but I'm also concerned about politicians who say they love the poor, like those in the other party that have said that for years. And every time they go into power, all they do is make the poor life more difficult. Yes, they help out a few of their friends, but for the most part, they leave the people in poverty. For example, I heard a speech recently, long ago, a couple of years ago, that Peter Phillips made. He was a former leader of the PNP, and he talked so passionately about land reform and so on. And I'm like, my God, why didn't they do land reform in the 18 and a half years when they were in power, when they said they loved the poor? Why didn't they divest crown lands and make sure that we didn't have any more squatters. But instead, year after year after year, they continue to leave many Jamaicans, some 700,000, as squatters. Uh, Owen Alger is asking, how do you plan to monitor the voter registration process given that there are many instances where persons are being registered and voting outside of the constituencies where they work or live? I'm very happy to say, Owen, that that has improved a lot over the years. It's not as bad as it was years ago. So it's much better now in terms of the quality of the registration process. What we do though is on election day, you have indoor agents and outdoor agents that are there to help scrutinize and make sure that those who are voting are supposed to be voting and are legally, allowed to do so. So here we go. Francis Lawrence says auto intelligence is a sin. I don't agree. I believe that the human race will continue to evolve, will continue to find new technologies. For example, here am I now talking to you on this technology. I just wish that we were the ones that were developing them. So I want to lead a Jamaica where we bring our children up to speed so that they can start being leaders in software engineering and bioengineering, biotechnology engineering, artificial intelligence, all these things. Let's not be afraid of technology. Let's just make sure that technology is not applied unethically, um, in an immoral way, or used to violate our rights as individuals. Like with social media platforms applying censorship, right? Or being used, a collusion between big government and big media, colluding to lock out some people out of the communication space and preventing us from hearing from others. That's what we must fight, not the technology. The technology is fine. It's how the technology is used and by whom, to do what. So we need to, guard that. Stephen Lynn, why should the people vote UIC? Tell them, Mr. President. The people should vote UIC because they have been failed by the two other parties, and the UIC is offering a solution which is system based. So we're going to fix the system. We're not just promising you empty, glorified, promises like in the past. We're actually offering you a system change, and we're very transparent. We tell you exactly what the system is. We engage you for input, and we design the system to solve the problems that we have had for many, many years now. The problems of improper checks and balances, the problems of not liberating the poor. Like we have a program where we dedicate 10% GCT uh, exclusively to ensuring we eliminate poverty. So we're not even going to leave it up in the air anymore. It's going to be very direct. 10% of every sale is going into the budget to make sure that every child gets the nutrition. Very, very important. Every child gets the nutrition that they need. Without proper nutrition, you can't learn. You can't have children going to school like we did, some of us, with sugar and water and piece of bread and butter. That not gonna work. You have some who go to school hungry. Poor nutrition means poor brain development, and it's harder to learn. So we're going to make sure nutrition is a big deal for us. Secondly, we're going to make sure that every child have access to quality education. And our model of doing this is really very good because it's a model that understands economics. So we're not just making an empty promise, right? So education, key. Quality teachers, well-trained teachers, well-paid teachers, quality tuition for the students. New learning methodologies that helps children to really learn concepts rather than simply learn to repeat or regurgitate, right? So we're going to really fix the learning problem by working with all stakeholders in a new public school system, which is not politically led, but is led by professionals who are committed to improving the learning methodologies that we use. So, nutrition, education. On top of that, we're then going into making sure that healthcare for children, right? So we want to diagnose problems very quickly. We want to make sure that they get the kind of care that they need. We want to be able to identify if they're being abused. Make sure that we're protecting them from abuse and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a key part. The other part of our program is to ensure that people have homes. So squatting has to go, the ghettos have to go, and garrisons have to go. So we're going to focus now on getting people into decent housing. Okay? Again, we have the resources to do that. It's just that they're misallocated at the moment. So we're going to shift, get the GCT into building quality, high-rise housing on lands that are not best suited for farming. And then we want to keep the farmlands, yeah, away from housing development. Keep the farmlands and focus on getting into solid organic farming using technology, but sticking to the organic principles, the principles of true organics and permaculture, and getting Jamaica now to become a world leader in organic food production and export. Killing two birds with one stone. One is the inflow of foreign exchange from the export, and two is the reduction in our health costs by teaching our people how to live healthy. We're not going to force them enough. We're going to teach our people how to eat healthy and incentivize them to eat healthy, to build their immune system, to reduce cardiovascular disease, to increase their learning capacity, really change our consumption pattern so that Jamaican products become more and more what we consume, and we do so voluntarily because we have an environment that makes that possible and conducive. Uh, so someone else says, I think you should cancel Alexander Bustamante being a national hero of Jamaica because he was a criminal, a murderer, and one of the last slave masters in Jamaica with the BITU. Personally, Daniel, I do not really have a great regard for Norman Manley and Bustamante as national heroes, to be honest with you. I focus on the other five. I call them my true national heroes. I cannot see how persons who negotiated a constitution such as the one we now have, with a foreigner as head of state of our country and call that independence, then can be claiming or can be called a hero. Uh, Anybody with any sense at all would know that creating a constitution with a foreigner as our head of state would only diminish the people in their own eyes and undermine the people's view of themselves. Yeah. So definitely, I cannot support them as national heroes, but they are at the moment, and the UIC will have us think otherwise later. I'm prepared to support the UIC based on the expressed vision of realizing a better Jamaica, protection of rights, people empowerment, economic and social transformation. Thank you, Donovan Moore. Appreciate that. Would you consider a revision and reformation of the Jamaican education system? That's a question from Jay. Yes, Jay, I totally, unequivocally would consider a reformation of the Jamaican education system. And more than consider, we do plan it already. We're going to completely uh, revolutionize the Jamaican education system. We're going to move it away from being um, a football of politics, a playground of politicians, to an institution that is really focused on bringing out the best in our students. I don't know if you have seen what they do over there in Singapore, but I love it. In Singapore, they're our brightest math students. Our brightest math student is their worst math student, our brightest. So I want a system that's going to really make our children love math. And there's a way to do that, eh? And it's the method that we use to teach mathematics, for example. It's a very poor method. So I want to change that, right? And really bring quality learning in math, communication, analysis, being analytical, not just critical thinking, but being analytical, being being able to forecast, being able to think, right? So I want a system where we teach our children to think, not what to think, but how to think, so they can really analyze, they can forecast, they can plan, they can design, they can innovate, they can create, and they have the freedom to do so at an early age. I don't want them to wait until they get to university to start building new things, creative things. I want them to start now. You know, I don't want to hold back any child because of a grade level. I want a system where you progress as fast as you can, as far as you can. And so our education system will ensure that every child that has the potential can go as far as they possibly can in the education space. Regardless of their parents' ability to pay. While at the same time, we're going to hold all parents accountable to be a part of the tax system to help contribute to the cost of creating a new and vibrant and exciting Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. So Fox Strike says, "Isn't Singapore a dictatorship?" No, it's not. Singapore is not a dictatorship. That's a deception. That's misleading. Singapore has democratic election every year since 1965, and one party, the PAP, has won all of those elections. That does not make it a dictatorship. It simply means that the people have voted for the PAP. Now, over the years, support for the PAP has been gradually declining, particularly since Lee Kuan Yew is no longer the prime minister. He served as prime minister for about 30 years because the people loved him, because his policies were effective. Lee Kuan Yew and his party overcame tremendous odds to build a massive first class country in 25 years because they understood good governance. They didn't fully understand how to change the constitution to one that would last, because now they have some cracks because they didn't do what we're about to do. But they understood the premise of good governance, which, first of all, you have to eliminate political corruption. That's number one. If you don't eliminate political corruption, everything else you want to do is going to fail. So Singapore eliminated political corruption as a primary part of its governance model. After that, it moved to security. It made sure that Singapore is super safe by investing in a police service that is community driven, that is intelligence driven, and that is very, very serious about delivering on the demands of the Singaporean people, which is for a safe environment. So Singapore, no significant political corruption, a safe environment, and then he added to that the other two elements that the UIC has, which is a very clean environment. And by clean, I mean clean. I mean also environmentally beautiful. So green spaces, good waterfronts, manicured lawns. So they make the entire island of Singapore a beautiful thing by design. Okay, they didn't just leave it to chance. They plan it and manage it. So the public spaces are very beautiful, very clean, and very inspiring for any citizen who wakes up to that every morning. So again, they got rid of the corruption in politics, in government. They made sure the environment was safe so that people can plan their lives, invest with confidence, which is key. If you have a safe environment, investment pours in because the cost of security is lower and the likelihood of you succeeding is higher. They also made the environment pretty and clean and green so that people felt good about where they live and wanted to stay there. Then on top of that, they then made it very orderly. So they had strict public order. You can't litter, you can't pee on the street, you can't drop through and go on the street. So that's why people talk about it being a dictatorship, because they have very tough rules, which are good rules. Why wouldn't you want to have an environment where people can't just pee on the street, but instead we have good laboratories, good public spots for you to do that, and the government made sure that the place was clean, and if you violated it, you pay the price. You're punished for violating it. So he made sure that you have low to no corruption in government, secure environment, clean and green environment, and an orderly environment. That was the recipe for massive success in Singapore. Here is the fourth the fifth thing that they did, which was a critical part now of the final element for their success, which the UIC understands very clearly. The Singaporean government under Lee Kuan Yew understood that if you have a country with limited resources, very little resources, Singapore is more like a big piece of rock with nothing like Jamaica. It didn't have all of the wonderful resources that we had. Okay, nothing like Jamaica. And what Lee Kuan Yew did was to say, we must invest in our human capital. And so what he did was to ensure that they really invested in a very high quality education system for their children. And they made sure that every child had access to the education, the healthcare, and the nutrition that they needed to succeed. And then they made sure that teachers were of the highest quality and received the highest pay. And as a result, they produced very high quality citizens that could work in any area, whether it's aerospace technology, phone technology, automobile technology, um, artificial intelligence, shipping, every single area that is of prime importance in a modern world. Their people were given the kind of education that's fitted them for that. Now, we didn't do that in Jamaica, so we're suffering today. But they did that. And so, having done that, all the major companies in the world goes to Singapore to be able to benefit from the high quality citizens that they have there. So in Singapore now, they have a problem. The problem they have is they don't have enough low paid skilled laborers. So they have to import people to do low end work because their citizens are so high up the pole that they're not going to go clean the toilets. So they have to bring people in from other countries now to come and do that kind of work. Very good problem to have. Question: explain why the NIDS is not a good move. Douglas Harper is asking, why is the NIDS not a good move? Good question. Okay, first of all, nothing is wrong with having a national identification system. Nothing is wrong with that. Um, Jamaica currently does have a national identification system. We have a TRN. Uh, some people have driver's license. Some people have passports. Everybody has a birth certificate. So we do have an identity already. You could, the government could invest in bringing that together into one system easily. But the NIDS now is not a Jamaican-led initiative. The NIDS is a foreign-led initiative. It is a, it is a, it is a, the NIDS is an instruction or a command from our foreign masters. They have commanded our government to say, put this in place now. And we're going to lend you rather, money to put it in place. So that you then owe us this money. You're going to get this money and you're going to buy our system. You're going to buy our consultancy. You're going to implement this on your people, and then we're going to have access to your data, and we're going to be able to use that to further our objectives. So the NIDS is not a simple matter of just having an ID. We can all agree that having a national ID is a good thing, but you need to look beyond just the simplicity of that and ask what's really at play here. Why is this so urgent now? We have gone for so many years without having that particular kind of ID. Why is it so urgent now? Why must we get this right now? Why must we borrow all this money to do it right now? How are we suffering from not having it right now? The Prime Minister said if we had it right now, it would have been easier for them to to carry out the Juke campaign. No, that's not enough of a reason for me. He said it would would have been easier for them to give out benefits during the COVID uh, crisis and so on. That's still not a good enough reason for me. There's no reason at all why you cannot use the current information that you have in place. It's just that you have chosen to do this because your foreign masters have dictated that you should do it, and they have objectives which we might not fully understand yet as a people. So let's be careful. It says NINS, somebody here says NINS is part of a global agenda to meet the UN Vision 2030 Sustainable Development Plan. I'm sure it is a part of an agenda, and that agenda is not necessarily in the best interest of the Jamaican people. Yeah. Um, so somebody here says, will you build on our background in herbalism? Wow, very good. Teaching our people more, maybe exporting to other countries to capitalize on the knowledge. Very good question. Uh, we really believe that we have done our people a disservice by not encouraging, facilitating, um, and funding an understanding of natural remedies that comes directly from here in Jamaica. Instead, our leaders have led us down a path of simply focusing on whatever is produced by other countries. So we have not encouraged our people to get involved in producing our own indigenous solutions. I'm so proud of Cuba sometimes. Eh? I mean, I don't like communism. I'm totally against communism, so I don't like that. But I'm so proud of how much they have tried as a people to be productive and creative. You know, they came up with their own vaccine. They have all kind of things that they do, and we can do that too. In a free society, we don't need to create a communist or socialist society to do these things. We just need to liberate the Jamaican people and allow the people to be able to do things. What we have is a system, a regulatory environment that allows the government to regulate away our freedom, to regulate away our creativity, to regulate away our innovation, to stifle us and to make us, buyers and sellers, and very little by way of producers, and that's really bad. Uh, so yeah, so somebody said, Shar says a bad man government. Okay, yes. When elected, what will you do with the lottery industry? Alvin Harriet is asking, what will I do with the lottery industry? The lottery industry, like all other industries, I don't know if it's an industry. The lottery is really, yeah, it's gaming, right? Right? It's people playing games with their own money. I have no problem. I don't gamble personally, and gambling can cause serious problems. In homes, addiction, and all of that. But the UIC believes in your right to choose. So a person who wants to gamble, that's their business. Yeah. As long as there's no force or fraud involved in the activity, then that's okay. So if nobody's being forced to gamble and nobody's being defrauded, then fine. There's not much more for the role of government in that. Once we get into the playing field where there's force or fraud, then we step in. How will we stop the EOJ from cheating the election to favor the evil parties, says Ken Francis? Well, we all have to be vigilant, all of us, right? So we're going to have our election day workers, indoor agents, outdoor agents. But the most important people are you and me, all of us. All of us must be vigilant, pay attention, and report any irregularities, and let us all fight for free and fair elections. We can tell, we're going to be able to tell if if they're trying to pull anything off, and we, the people, will stop it. Let's just prepare ourselves to be vigilant and to fight for what we want. Can we negotiate with foreign car companies to make spare parts uh, for the Caribbean? Kojo, yes, we can. In a free and fair market economy, we can. In fact, we can also start manufacturing our own parts here in Jamaica. It's just that the current system denies us the freedom to do this because our government doesn't work for us. What would we do with Riverton Dump? Would you make it an energy source? Boy, Annalise, you're such a thinker, eh? Yeah. We're going to look at, well, the most important thing, Annalisa, is that when you have the kind of government that we're talking about, you now have the ability to have Jamaicans come forward with great ideas and make them happen. Eh? So, for example, if you or somebody you know is able to show how we can turn garbage into profit, you're going to have an enabling environment, an environment that enables you to be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Eh? So we're definitely going to look at how we can convert our waste management system into one that converts waste of all kinds into energy. There's a big opportunity I see in biogas, for example. I also see an opportunity in recycling and using metals in key ways. So there are lots of opportunities that we can work on. Yeah. Steve is asking, local election, are we ready? No, we're not ready right now, Steve. We're not ready at this very moment. We're getting ready. So we're currently working. We have a lot of candidates that we're interviewing right now, about 150 the last time I checked, and we're going through the process. We have our elections in December. So in December, we're going to elect uh, all of our candidates, hopefully. So they're currently getting ready now to debate, each other. So we have in some constituencies, we have more than one person. So they have to do their own debates and town halls. And then we all elect. The beautiful thing is every Jamaican can participate in electing our representatives. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up, and you can participate in electing who is going to be the candidate in your area. Um, or for senators in your county, or for leader of the party or the movement and prime minister. So I'm up for election in the UIC. So come December, I might be challenged by somebody. I don't know yet if anybody has applied to run against me. But we are our movement is very open that way, right? So, and we don't consider, for us, running against the president or any of the vice president or any of the other offices is not seen as a bad thing. It's welcome. It's not something that should cause any kind of friction or whatever. We we we're open to persons running for any position once they're a member in good standing. Yeah. So Donovan Moore says, yes, it can be done. That is conversion of solid waste into energy. Absolutely, absolutely. Methane gas as well. We have lots of that here that we're wasting. He says you need a bigger flag behind you. Okay, no problem. We'll see about that. Would you consider manufacturing aluminum in Jamaica instead of just exporting bauxite? Well, actually, Jamaica Life TV, I am really against mining. I think land in Jamaica is a premium. You know, we're an island. We're not a big, massive land like the US or Canada or Russia. So we have to be very careful about mining. I think we need to shift away from mining and focus on organic agriculture as our primary, one of our primary outputs. And also tourism, but a different kind of tourism. I want us to get into community tourism. So we stop locking up the money in a few um, hands, but opening up the industry so that we have tourism right throughout the island, right? So I want to bring it into the communities. So I want the money from tourism to go right down to the small man and woman on the street. And the way for that to happen is to create um, the safe environment that I'm talking about before. Because if it's safe, more tourists can come. And if it's clean and pretty, right across the island, you know, east to west, north to south, it will make the entire country a beautiful place. Really nice, clean, no garbage all over the place, proper roads, proper sidewalks, proper lighting. You know, the grass areas are cut and maintained flowers, beautiful place. We're going to create about 500,000 jobs just from making the entire island a tourist destination. And I hate saying it's a tourist destination because what I really mean is I want the entire island to be a beautiful place for all Jamaicans who live here and also those who want to return to visit, you know. But then, because it's a beautiful place and well maintained for all Jamaicans, we have the benefit now of tourists being able to go all throughout the island, and interact with the people, sit down in a yard and eat some nice yam and breadfruit and banana and curry goat and jerk chicken or whatever. We need to bring tourism to the entire island. So it's a part of our life, and the tourists feel comfortable going throughout the entire island. Whether it's Raytown or Tivoli Gardens or Seaview Gardens or Majestic Gardens or Balaclava or Barton, wherever. Just make the entire Jamaica a beautiful place for our people, our citizens to enjoy, and then tourists can come in straight throughout and make it an agricultural center nation as well. So organic agriculture. We don't get involved in all the pesticides and herbicides that are cancerous. We focus on really investing in high quality organic fertilizer, organic um, soil amendments, and building that expertise here and building a full industry here. That's another 250,000 jobs easily, right? And there are many levels to it. It's not like just the planter. You have, those are going to manage the technology, those who are going to plan, those who are going to be involved in harvesting, and so on. So we no longer provide any farm workers going overseas. You can stay right here and earn at the level that you would have earned overseas or more because of the kind of agricultural industry that we build here. Yeah. Annalisa says, this may sound funny, but will you build underground tunnels? You get my drift. Annalisa, I love your question. You need to be on one of our committees. We'll have things in place. Yeah, we'll have things in place. Okay. Yes. Donovan, you're correct about the energy requirements for aluminum from bauxite. And I'm really not interested in that. I'm more interested in making sure we preserve a quality of life here in Jamaica. Yeah. Carol Hyman is saying, nice to see you here, Kodjo. Okay, got it. Any other questions or comments? Will you be accepting donations from big corporations in Jamaica? Michael Mitchell is asking, if a big corporation wants to give us a donation and it comes with no strings attached, which means nothing about our platform changes because of their donation, then that's fine. So we'll accept monies from anyone who does not attempt to change our platform. Um, yeah, that's key. Daniel says Jamaican children are too traumatized because I was living in the ghetto and I know they are. And it's time for that cycle of living in the ghetto to stop. So put a stoppage to it, please, if you can. So Daniel, yes, we can. Yes, we can. It's not me that's going to put a stoppage to it, it's we. So we have to organize the UIC, we have to fund the UIC, we have to vote for the UIC, and we have to change Jamaica into the Jamaica we want to see, right? So we're going to do it. It's me and you together. Um, will there be privacy with our medical history? Absolutely. Your medical history is your privacy is key on the DUIC. Your personal privacy, your personal space. It's all yours. So no infringement on your privacy by the government, no spying, no eavesdropping. We want to make sure that you're completely free of fear from the government and from other criminals as well. Okay, we should use ranked choice voting in the December election. Not sure what you mean by ranked choice, JNH. Can you explain some more? I have an idea, but I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding you. Okay. Do we have too many BPOs? Fox Strikes is asking. I don't know. I wouldn't say whether we have too many BPOs or not. I mean, a BPO is just a business processing outsourcing center. That's really up to entrepreneurs and persons who want those jobs. So we can have as many as demand and supply requires. So as many uh, entrepreneurs who want to open a BPO center and as many persons who want to work for them and as many customers who need that service, that will determine the numbers. It's not something for the government or politicians to say we have too many BPOs or too little BPOs. It's more a matter of um, having an environment where people are free to create the jobs that they want or to work for the companies they want. Okay, would you create a framework for private investors to restart Air Jamaica? Owen is asking. No, we won't create a framework for that. What we will have is a framework that allows investors to invest in whatever they think is best, as long as that investment um, does not interfere with the rights and freedoms of Jamaicans or infringe on their life, liberty, or property rights. But I wouldn't have a specific thing for Air Jamaica or anything like that. Air Jamaica is should have been a private enterprise in the first place, and we won't go back in history and create a Air Jamaica that becomes a place for politicians to play games with the taxpayers' money. Yeah. So okay, let's see. Colin Powell was fully vaccinated and he died. Yeah, such a sad thing. I'm sorry to see that Colin Powell has left us. I don't know the details. I did read something, said that he was fully vaccinated, but I can't give any further comment on that. I don't know, what's happening there. Will there be an election in December? BLK is asking. There will be an internal election, UIC internal election. So all positions are up for re-election in December. So anybody who is a member of the UIC can vote in that election. We encourage all Jamaicans to sign up and vote. Vote for president, vote for vice presidents, vote for MP candidates, vote for councillor candidates, and so on. Okay? 400 years we've been here on the plantation. What are your plans for us who want to leave? Can reparations for us I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Moses, when you say reparation for us. What do you mean? We believe that the poor people of Jamaica needs help. So we're going to do a kind of internal reparation. We're going to make sure that we eliminate squatter communities, ghettos, and garrisons with a really good housing program that's going to move people out of those unsanitary, unsightly environment into high quality condominiums that are designed for very dignified living. And we're going to fund that through the GCT program. A combination of workfare, a combination of crown land distribution, and all of that. Donovan is asking, do you have a structured communications strategy to increase the awareness level of persons on the UIC manifesto? I did an informal survey and only 60% of the canvas were aware. Well, we have a strategy in place, but having a strategy and realizing that strategy is two different things. And the UIC, one of our biggest challenge right now is financing, because we don't remember the other parties are fully financed by big business, right? So they're also fully supported by big business, which owns the big media. So, for example, if the opposition leader wants to cough something out, he will quickly get publicity to cough it out. Your leader, the UIC, we don't have that privilege. So, while we are much poorer than the other two parties, they are much more privileged than we are. They have big media supporting them. They have big business supporting them, and they have over 70 odd years of experience and 70 odd years of being ingrained in the political process. Yeah. So Donovan is saying still less than 25% were able to articulate what the movement was about. I would admit that the sample was skewed. Yeah, Donovan, it's going to be that way. Over time, it will get better, but it can only happen with us penetrating and the communities, which is very difficult, because remember, it takes money, right, to be able to do certain things, and also volunteers. And we can make up for the money by the volunteers. So, like for example, right now we have a lot of volunteers. I mean, more and more people now are volunteering. So if you have volunteers that are actively engaged, building community groups, which are happening right now as we speak. There are groups popping up everywhere, UIC groups all over the country. People are organizing in groups of 12 based on what I have instructed them to do, to just get a group of 12 and then register your team, your group with the UIC at office, and then you start to build, right? You start to collect your people, and having your meetings and disseminating information. So that's happening right now as we speak. So without even a lot of money, we're penetrating, but it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be quick. So we just keep working at it. Garfield, the big business breaks the labor laws with impunity. Do you think you could implement measures to prevent this and still survive as a party? Absolutely, Garfield. We have a a clear plan how we're going to protect the rights of all Jamaicans, including employees, entrepreneurs, small businesses, micro entrepreneurs, everybody. We're going to protect the rights of all Jamaicans very, very effectively. No special treatment or exemptions for big business. Um, so Kodra is asking, can we negotiate with car companies to make light spare parts, creating jobs? Uh, uh, yes, we can. We will make the environment such that the Jamaican private sector, like all of us, because we all are a part of the private sector, right? All Jamaicans who are not working for the government is a part of the private sector. So we're going to create an enabling environment that allows Jamaicans to negotiate and create opportunities for themselves and for others. Will you change the Buggery law? We're going to get rid of the constitution that now exists. So when we get rid of that constitution, all of those laws in that constitution will be gone, and the new constitution will protect the rights of all Jamaicans equally. We're not going to have any special laws for any subgroup of persons. We're going to have laws that applies to all Jamaicans equally. Of course, you'd have laws for children and for senior citizens who need special care, but there won't be any laws unique to any particular uh, groups to say this group of special rights or this group of special protection. We're going to protect the life, liberty, and property rights of all Jamaicans equally. Okay? All right. So I think that's quite a bit we have covered. I believe we're supposed to be having a group discussion at some point. Uh, so let me check with our producers and see if they have anything lined up for us. So let me find out here and see what 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 we have here. Yeah, so team, let me know if you have the group lined up, for the group discussion. I'm not sure what you have lined up at the moment, but I think I've exhausted my 45 minutes a long time ago. So let me know. All right, so while we're waiting for the programmers to come back in, I can take some more questions. Will we join the Caribbean Court of Justice? Very good question. It depends. We'll have to see. We want the Caribbean Court of Justice, and we want a United Caribbean of all the countries. So we'll see. All right, Mr. Thompson, welcome back. What's the plan for the rest of the program now?
The plan for the rest. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So the plan was to have an open discussion. So the open discussion, of course, involved speaking to the individuals in the comment section, which you seem to have already been doing.
Okay. So I've jumped the gun. I jumped the gun and everything. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard the conversation earlier, a few hours ago, where we're talking about the Sexual Offences Act.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you hear that conversation?
I heard parts of it. I heard parts of
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, because I was listening to you on my phone with in regards to changing all the laws. So I was
Yes.
listening to what you were saying, and that came to mind. So that asked if you had heard the conversation surrounding that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bright new day for Jamaica. I mean, when we're talking about a new constitution,
Mhm.
so everything is on the table for consideration because we want to make sure that our laws are consistent with the values of the new constitution, and the
Mhm.
values that undergird the new constitution is is the protection of life, liberty, and property, and the abolition of force and fraud from all human relationships. So
Yeah.
those are key principles which will guide what we do. We believe in a truly free and fair market economy, so that's going to guide what we do. We believe that we must protect the rights of children to make sure that they're not abused, that they receive proper nutrition, proper health care, proper education, that are properly housed in order for them to be their best selves. So these are the kind of principles that will guide us throughout all of our policies, um, and the laws that we put in place. We believe in not overtaxing the Jamaican people. So
Yeah.
tax limits will be there, maximum of 10%, never go above 10% for income tax and never go above 10% for sales tax. And eliminating all of the taxes, no property tax. So these are key things that will guide the UIC throughout. Will you put culprits of FinStack on trial? Not an inquiry. It all depends. AMG will see if there's, if we can, that might be a part of our Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And if persons are found to be involved in corruption or fraud, then they will be charged for sure. Uh, One person says the removing of the buggery law will be a huge concern. Hope that won't happen. I'd love to hear more from you on that, MPEC. Uh,
Is that law even used? Like,
no, it's not even. It's not even. It's hard to enforce because it's very tricky, right? But it's really not really it's not a good law. It's not a necessary law. It's for, I mean, the key thing you want to do, NPEC, is you want to make sure that the laws of Jamaica applies to all Jamaicans equally, and that the law uh, protects a person's right to their life, to their liberty, and to their property. It doesn't mean that you approve of how they use that liberty, right? So for example, um, if you have liberty, you may choose that you want to eat fries for dinner every day. Now, that might not be a wise choice to eat fries for dinner every day, but that's your right nonetheless, right? Now, I might disagree with you doing that, but you must have the freedom to eat fries for dinner every day if you want, as long as You're not forcing other people to eat fries or defrauding other people, selling them something and disguising it as fries. So so you're not, so that's the key principle here. Don't get hung up on your own little let's call it, you have some little concerns or big concerns that you really want to make sure that other people, for example, suppose you don't want people to use sugar, you believe that they shouldn't use sugar, you're against sugar, you really want everybody to use honey. Like, I am a honey farmer, so if on our current system I could seek to influence the government to say outlaw sugar and make everybody have to eat honey, so that would push up my honey sales. Now, you wouldn't like that because you may prefer your sugar. You don't even like honey. So you don't want a system that is so lacking in objectivity. You want a system that allows you, if you want to use sugar, that is your problem. Now, if you use sugar improperly and that causes you a problem, for example, diabetes, then that is your problem. That is your choice that you made, and you have to live with the consequences of that. While I might choose to use a more healthy sugar and have a different problem, or have a benefit that you otherwise wouldn't have. What do you think about that, Devon?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And as I said, it's not being used. Right, the more important laws here, as I was talking to people earlier, is the ones in the Sexual Offences Act. These laws that don't have any teeth, these laws that actually don't provide the right amount of protection for our women and our children, especially our vulnerable women and children, because they have a sex offender registry, but their registry has no teeth. Right? You have a school, let's say you have a school, a public school, Portmore, or you have a women's home, a children. and you're hiring somebody, you can't check to see if this person was a sex offender, right? Because the information is not available to you, and then there are ways for the judge to not include that person as a sex offender. So if you want to focus on the things that actually provide protection for people, right? And I guess yeah, you want to focus on things that provide protection, and that's what we're looking for. Protection of life, your
Yeah.
liberty, and your property. And your body is your property, and that's something that we say all the time. But I see a very important question there by Michael Mitchell. Will you be providing an app that will make it easy to access the organization now information and to make donations?
Oh, well, he's reading our mind, I guess.
Yeah.
So that might very well happen very soon. Again, one of the challenge that I want all of you to know about is the challenge of funding. The UIC is a grassroots movement, so we're totally depending on you for funding. So it's very important that you get involved, not just emotionally or intellectually, but get involved financially as well and help to fund the